Okay, now on to the final demo of today's video. I have a very simple Python application over here that basically counts. Hold on, I'm just closing this. I was just testing this before we connected. Okay. And basically what this Python application does is it counts how many times you visited the localhost port. So for now, I will give this the localhost tag and let's run this. Okay, so python app.py. Okay, application is up. Let's open it in the browser and let's give it a minute. So this application makes use of Redis database to store the count of how many times you hit the localhost. So we are just waiting. I don't know why. Okay. So it's saying connecting to localhost 6379, no connection could be made because the target machine actively refused it. Why did this happen? Because our application requires a Redis database and we never started a Redis database. Okay. So I will do that. Docker run -d -p 6379 :6379 -- name Redis. Okay, now things should be better. Okay, the application is responding now and I am counting how many times I am hitting the localhost. That's cool. But what happens if I remove my Redis? Okay, and restart again. Now our last count is 12. It went to 1. We lost it. Oh, I forgot to attach a volume. So you see the problem here. We had to follow a very specific sequence in which first the Redis database server had to be started. Then we have to make sure that volume is attached to our database, and then after that we want to run our application. Okay, we know that this problem can be solved through orchestration. Orchestration is basically a way of making sure that all the multiple containers that are running are started in the right sequence and also with the right configuration. And because we are keeping everything in a single compose.yaml file, there is no room for error. It always does the same thing again and again without any issue. So I had already created this Docker file. We are already familiar with Docker file by now. We have the base image, that is our from block. Then we have our work directory. Then we have copy. After that we have run because we want to install our dependencies, and after that we are copying our application code. And finally we have the cmd command. Very simple, very straightforward. Now let's take a look at the compose.yaml file. Here we are first defining services. We are defining web and Redis. We are ensuring that if the image is not available, it builds, and the path to Docker file is the current folder, because the same folder in which compose.yaml file is present. We are binding the ports at 8080 to 5000. So when we hit the application on our local machine, on host machine, we will use the port 8080. We are setting up a network, that is application tier, and we are also mentioning that this service depends upon Redis. So first Redis has to be up and ready. Only then start up this container. We are defining our network and we are also defining volume. And this volume is referred over here. Everything is in one place. You don't have to fiddle with commands and sequences and IP addresses and ports or anything. Everything is right here. All I have to do is, over here you saw I had to open two different terminals. So I will close this. I will stop this server and I will simply run docker compose up. That's it. Now we know that our Python application is connecting to port 5000 inside the container, and we have mapped our host machine's 8080 port to the container's 5000 port. So we won't look at localhost 5000, we will look at localhost 8080. Okay, let's go over here at 8080. Okay, we are getting a response. 12, 13. Okay, 13. No worries. Looks good. Now, to stop this, all you have to do is you have to run a command called, first I will go to the path cd, okay, cls. Now I have to simply do docker compose down. So to start the containers, you say docker compose up. To stop the containers, you say docker compose down. And that's it. It stopped. Okay. Let's take a look over here, and over here also it has stopped. Exit code 0. Database saved on disk. Okay. Now let's try again. Docker compose up. Again, no need to remember any ports, any IP addresses, volume attachments, nothing. I simply ran the command docker compose up. Everything is here. And our last count was 13. I hit refresh. It's 14. That means our data is also intact. We haven't lost our data. This is the beauty of Docker Compose. This is the beauty of orchestration. Later on, in coming videos, we will look at Swarm and Kubernetes. Those are also orchestration techniques on a very large scale. But this is basically how it starts. This is how you are able to align containers together, and you don't have to maintain the sequences. You don't have to remember the IP addresses. You don't have to remember the network name. You don't have to remember the port number or name of the volume, or to attach the volume. You don't have to remember anything. You just write it once in a declarative way, and that's it. It's done. That's the beauty of orchestration. I hope this was helpful. Now, back to the lecture.